All right, let's see where we're at lighting-wise. Let's put a little more light on the subject. Okay, looks like we're going live. Hello, everybody. Okay. Is everyone out there? It's a little after 2 o'clock on Sunday, October 1st. My name is Graham Elwood. You are watching the Superchat Sunday. Who else is out there? All right. Okay. Oh! Rhombus Isotope is there. All right, let me know, is the sound, and can you hear everything? Jake is here. Let me know, how's the sound quality for everything? Let's get this right like that. There's the blue light. Boom, blue light. There's my surfboard, was just surfing with Putin. He and I and Jill Stein. Sound is good. Yep, all good. All right. What's up, folks? I got the Winkle the Bernie Bro. How you doing? I got my vegan smoothie. I'm going to go see the Los Angeles Sparks Game 4, the WNBA Finals. They have a 2-game series lead. I think they're going to win today. That's my prediction. So, yeah. Yeah, let's get that a little closer. I did a slightly higher streaming with slightly better video quality, so I hope it looks better, because the camera on my new laptop was a lot better than the old one. So, all right, we got people watching. The sound quality is good. I should tell you I was just at Jimmy Dore's yesterday recording, so a bunch more videos. Looks like the videos, I did a bunch of videos with him that should be coming out soon, so we talked about a lot of stuff. Also, I did some videos that just came out. I know there's new information about how Tiger Swan dealt with the Dakota Access Pipeline. I put that video out there, and you know, so that's where we're at with everything. What would you find folks like to talk about today? Well, how are we going to make Gotham great again? It's good to see everybody here. Rhombus, Jake, Winkle the Bernie Bro. So, I will talk about this. There were more protests this morning during the NFL games, more players. That was, I don't watch really football anymore, but more people were protesting. I'll be curious to see how people respond. We did a bunch of videos with Jimmy Dore about how dire the situation is in Puerto Rico, and Trump is still barely doing anything. So that was interesting to see. Winkle the Bernie Bro, I'm learning a lot about how stigmatized depression is, and it's a utter travesty. Yep. Mental illness in this country is so misunderstood by so many people, and I think we talk about it in the movie Earbuds. Actually, some podcast fans came forward on camera and said, I've struggled with depression or bipolar or whatever, and Paul Gilmartin, who does the podcast Mental Illness Happy Hour, I would highly recommend listening to that. One of the things he says is people that equate situational sadness with clinical depression is like saying they feel like they know what Italy's like because they've been to the Olive Garden. And I think, what situational sadness is, you go whatever, you lose a job or you get a breakup or something and you feel down, and then, you can just sort of do stuff to pick yourself up. Like I've talked about, I've been going through a breakup and it's been really hard, but I talk to friends and I go surfing and I do yoga and I feel better. That's not the same as clinical depression, and people just really don't understand it. There's an organization called NAMI, N-A-M-I, the National Association of Mental Illness. I'm told that's a pretty good resource if you're suffering from depression and you have friends and family that don't understand what you're going through. Send them over there, because they need to understand what you're going through. And then I highly recommend, finding a therapist, finding a good therapist. I've used support groups and therapy, and they've been really, really helpful. I've even had, dealt with it myself. I've had someone close to me say that repressed memories weren't a thing. Like, I was going through repressed memories of abuse, and they were like, oh, it's not a thing. And they just discounted it and was just like, how can you say that? And it really hurts when it's somebody that's close to you that you care about. So, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Asking for help is actually, people think it's weak. It's not. It's the most courageous thing you can do. To say, I'm having a problem with this thing, depression, whatever it is, past traumas, and I need help. It's the best thing you can do. Rhombocytophic drones are a problem. Get some wedge-tailed eagles. I don't know what that means. Phil Britton, hot damn, open cans of kick-ass. Yeah, that's right. Sparks, baby. We're going to win 2 in a row this year. They're going to clinch today. Rhombocytophic, it's not just the U.S., it's all over the world. Yeah, you're probably right that people, I know, like, Japan has a high rate of suicide. Now, there's some cultural stuff on the one end. Japan has for 1,000 years, samurais would commit what they call seppuku, which is ritual suicide, and it's a way to regain your honor. So people are like, suicide isn't looked as much down as it is in a sort of Judeo-Christian culture. But there's also a lot of people just not, you put on this brave face. That's a big part of it. That's a big thing in Japan. You're always nice, you're always polite, and there's some people struggling and they don't want to admit that. And that's the key is and if somebody says, like, I feel depressed, or I feel suicidal or whatever, listen to them and tell them to go get help, and ask them, mental illness is an illness just like anything else. It's like watching a diabetic drink a bunch of cans of Coke or something. It's like, have them try to get help. But you're right, bring that up. Fuentes 11, hello, thanks for joining us, Fuentes. Jake, difference acknowledged. Had to tell the difference lately. Situational sadness is a chronic condition these days. Well, if you're going through situational sadness, again, I'm not a therapist or a doctor, obviously, but if your situation is making you depressed, then that's something I would say, well, try to change your situation. Try to get around people that are more positive. I can tell you this right now: who you surround yourself with in your personal and work life has a big influence on how your life is like. And, like, somebody close to me was like, oh, I want to hang out with these people that are fuck-ups, and a lot of them do cocaine. They told me this. Oh, all these people do cocaine. I want to hang out with them. I'm like, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't be around them. Cocaine is gnarly. It ruins lives. People die from it. I've seen it destroy a lot. I wouldn't hang out with them. So, that's where you need, like, for me personally, I have all these little communities. Like, I go to my yoga classes, and I don't spend a lot of time with people in my yoga class outside of that. But when I go there before and then after class, we talk about it. And these are people that are, like, wanting to live healthy lives and work on themselves physically and emotionally. And so it's a positive environment that we're talking about. I don't know a lot of people who are like, oh, fuck this yoga, so the comedy community has a lot of addiction and, alcoholism and stuff like that. But There's also a lot of people that are very funny, obviously, and I love, like last night I went just checked out this show in Hollywood, and it was great. I saw a bunch of friends, and we laughed and joked around. So that was really cool. But my good close friends are all people that are pretty positive, that don't use a lot of drugs and alcohol, and this is just me. And, you know, I have a support network of people I can call when I'm in my head or depressed or sad or angry. So that's, to me, like how I make my environment, my situation positive and supportive. That's just me. Just saying, oh, Jake, the state of the world is saddening. Oh, no. Now I get your point, Drew. That's the other thing, too, as I've talked about on the show, from doing this and doing research and looking at stuff and going on the Jimmy Dore show and seeing what he's researching, it's easy to fall into like, oh, my God, what's the point? I mean, I absolutely get. That I absolutely get. And again, I would look for some positive stuff. That's why I try to cover some positive stories. Like electric cars are getting cheaper, and there's these people doing these good things. In the movie Inconvenient Sequel, there's some serious stuff that Al Gore obviously talks about. He even gets very emotional, but then you see very positive things happening. He's like, we have a chance at saving this. We have a chance at doing stuff. That helps me stay positive. So thanks for bringing that up. Michael Stiegel Jr., hello everyone. Thanks, man. Phil Britton, Fukushima meltdown is global suicide by nuclear profiteering. That is depressing. Yes, it is. It is. That's what I try to find the positive and stuff too. James 98, hey Graham, did you hear about the chaos in Spain? No, I haven't heard much about the chaos in Spain. I think they had an election or something. I'm not sure. Let me know more about it, James. Rhombus Isotope, you really have to amputate the people who bring you down in your life as much as possible. Anyway, yeah, it's hard, especially if it's like a close friend or a serious relationship and you're living with them or whatever. And if you're going through a tough thing, it's a hard. You're absolutely right. And I've heard that mentioned in self-help books. I've heard that mentioned. Deepak Chopra says that. Dalai Lama says that. Phil Britton, I like drugs. The drugs don't like me. Use the drugs. Don't let the drugs use you. Marilyn Manson. Yeah, I mean, a little. Me personally, I just can't do that stuff. And some people can do a little bit here and there. But cocaine is like everyone who's ever OD'd and had their life ruined from cocaine, even if they didn't die, but jail and everything, they all started going, oh, I can handle this. Every single one. Some people were able to do a little bit of it and then stop. But I've seen it destroy lives. Winkle the Bernie Bro, guess I need to find myself a support network like you're saying. Makes a lot of sense. Thank you for sane and rational thoughts on the subject. Yeah, man. In the 12-step programs, they call it the courage to change, and it's like, it's absolutely true. It's you got to have courage. It takes courage to go say I need help and to go talk to people that might even be strangers or whatever. But get yourself around positive people in every aspect of your life. HK Catalonia, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. James 98, if you find yourself going through hell, keep going. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like I've been going through a tough thing, and I just have to go through it. I can't, because here's the other thing too. Especially American society, if you're having a lot of difficult emotions, past memories of trauma or whatever, then there's this, don't feel them. Just distract yourself on the phone or video games or whatever. Like if all I did was like work out and surf and didn't face what I was dealing with, you have to deal with it. Like it's okay to feel sadness. It's okay to cry. And then when I'm really sad and depressed, if I feel like I'm starting to spiral down a real negative path, then I start calling people in my support network that I've set up. Where are we at? Don't forget, oh God, what was that last week? Somebody said, forget what and I forgot to set it up. So I was talking about the super chat, which is a way to donate, and someone's like, YouTube takes a bigger chunk. Here's this other thing. God, and I forgot to write that down and set it up. So if whoever suggested that, if you're on the feed right now, can you put that out there so I see it? Rhombus, if you're pissed about the state of the world, try to find a good volunteer organization if you've got the time to devote to it. Man, is that a fantastic suggestion. So as I've talked about, I've started to get more involved in the Red Cross. I've been involved with them with a lot, like started 16 years ago, but the last couple of years it's sort of, I've been traveling, busy, it fell off. And just doing that, man, does that make me feel better. I feel like I'm doing something. I'm helping people. And then everybody there, and there's a lot of personalities and stuff that need to be managed, but everyone there, for the most part, their intention is, I want to help, I want to do something. So right there, you're already in a room full of people that are all sort of on the same page. You don't even have to know them. It's sort of like I talked about the yoga thing, like everyone's kind of on the same page, and you go do volunteer work. Everyone there wants to help, and that's such a great suggestion, Rhombus Isotope. Winkle the Bernie Bro, Spain police are beating people that are protecting independent voters. Oh, God. I think I did see a little clip on that or something. Yeah, it just sounds like more corporate state, night sticking anybody that's speaking up. That's brutal. I don't know that much more about it. Otherwise, I would address it, but I haven't been following that. Phil Britton, Coke. The pause that refreshes on your way to a road to hell. Yeah. Coke turns people violent, makes them... I had to deal with somebody that very, very close to, and they became violent and abusive, and it was just crazy. It was like they became a different person, and it was scary. It's like, who the hell are you? Who are you? Saying and doing all these awful things. It's really, really hard. Murta Vinci, if you can consume it unrefined, then it's probably okay in moderation. Yeah, I don't agree with that about cocaine. I think you're ridiculous for trying it. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm too judgmental. I don't know, but I just have seen it ruin lives. I know people that are dead from it. Greg Giraldo's dead. Mitch Hedberg, he did heroin. Harris Whittles, these are all comics that I kind of knew. I didn't know them that well, but so don't forget to support the Super Chat, guys. I will answer your question. It'll go to the top of the list. James98, Catalonia went independent from Spain, and they had an unofficial election. The Spanish didn't take it well and started using rubber bullets on protesters. Wow. Now, I do know that Catalonia has been trying to secede or get independence from Spain for a while. But, man, I would love to know more, like what the threat to the Spanish government is, what resources are in that region of Spain that they would like get that violent about it. I'd like to know more, but thanks for posting that. Ofuentes 11, referendum vote was stopped by force in Catalonia by the Spanish government because beating people for democracy is the way to go. Yeah, the thing we talked about, it's awful that this is happening, and I applaud the people that are out there really seriously protesting and putting themselves at risk like that. That's bold. That's brave. One of the things Hedges talks about in Death of the Liberal Class is how this corporate state has been, it's all over the world. It's not, America is like the most egregious, but when the powerful are threatened by the masses, this is how they respond. They either buy you or they nightstick you. They beat the shit out of you. They lock you up. Oh, God. Jake, scary times are scary because things are in flux, but that also means things can be changed for the better. Fear and hope go hand in hand. That's a great point. Yeah, the whole country and the whole world is sort of in this, like, big upheaval. Everyone's going through a lot of upheaval. And, you're right, but there's also, like you say, there's a chance for a real change. We could have a real serious revolution in this country, like not a bloody, violent one, but like a serious change. Look, everything's being questioned. The election system, how we police, the environment. All these hurricanes, people are starting to ask, what the hell's going on. We're talking about race in this country. You know, we're talking about mental illness. We're talking about a lot of things. And it's good because we need to get it out in the open. We can't pretend that it isn't. That's going back to the initial discussion about mental illness. That's part of the mental illness of America is we're the best nation in the world. Everything's great. And we don't want to deal with, racism isn't that bad, or the environment's not that big of a deal. It's cyclical. Like all these things, they don't want to face it. And we need to face it. It's like, hey, I'm suffering from mental illness. I need help. Okay, well, let's help you. You got to get it out in the open first before anybody can do anything. Rhombosites of the Spanish are scared if the Catalonians go to go to the Basque will soon follow. Yeah, everything's gonna get broken up. Oh boy. Don't forget, guys, hit the super chat. I'll put your question up there. Great way to support the show. Also, I'm going to be putting a PayPal donate button on my website, grahamelwood.com. That'll be done probably later today by my web person. So if you're like, I don't like giving to YouTube or Patreon or whatever, and I just want to donate one time, you can donate anything from a penny on up, and everything helps the show. Ramba says, moderation is not an easy trick to pull off. No, and that's the other thing. These substances, your body becomes physically addicted to them. So this idea that you can just try it and then let it go is a big, huge risk. Catherine P. Meth is the worst of the worst. Yeah, I heard somebody talk about meth, and I heard this woman talk about her daughter started doing meth and just went nuts, like became awful and mean and violent, and it's scary. It's scary. Phil Britton, what is sickening today is there are so many people working for the CIA, are brutal enforcers, lethal in the militarized police force. The NSA are minions doing the fascist bidding. Yeah, that's the thing that is scary too, is all of these organizations and how they've infiltrated everything. I mean, I did that video on the CIA is getting people has serious influence at Harvard and these universities, and it's what Hedges talked about. All these liberal institutions that used to really challenge and keep power in check are now controlled by power. They control the regulators. They control everything. So it is scary, and the fact that there's this surveillance state. I mean, they can be watching all of this right now. So that's a little scary. Meta Vinci. So with everyone questioning authority, doesn't seem a silver lining with Trump? I agree. Like, if Clinton had won, people wouldn't have woken up. The other thing you say, yeah, I know it's scary, and big Clinton supporters are like, oh, you think this is so much better now? Even Bill Maher is blaming the hurricanes on Jill Stein, which is just so stupid. But like, we wouldn't have had town hall meetings. We wouldn't have had people getting involved. We wouldn't have 3 million women marching. We wouldn't have had that. We wouldn't have everybody paying attention. All like people getting involved in politics, especially like young people, millennials. Like, I'm getting involved. They would have just said, "Oh, cool, the system works," and yeah, Clinton. The Clintons aren't great, but they're better than the Republicans, and that's what people said for 8 years of Obama, and they wouldn't have woken up to what's going on. So I really hope that, Trump is scary. I mean, like, he wants to have a war with North Korea, but I don't see Clinton backing down. She wouldn't be talking peace about North Korea either. She's such a hawk. She's so pro-war. That's scary. William Pena, thanks for having a discussion with us on today's serious issues. It's much needed. Hey man, William, I thank you guys for showing up every Sunday. And I'm willing to talk about anything that I have any sort of knowledge or opinion on. And mental illness is something we need to talk about, and drug addiction is something we need to talk about. So, Jake, thank you for the support, brother. Boom. And thank you, man. No question right now, just thanks. Well, I thank all of you guys. I thank all of you guys for supporting the show in so many ways. And I really want to say, I know I'm still just a guy, with the light and just in his apartment, but look what we've done. Look what you guys have helped me do. I've gone from 164 subscribers to over 4,800. I've been able to buy this new get these lights and everything, buy this new laptop, which is able to do now the podcast I'm able to put out there and put out more bonus videos, and you guys have all made that happen. So thank you, man. Thank you, Jake. Rabasaisto, and mental illness and drug addiction go hand in hand, unfortunately. Yeah, you're right. Because what happens is a lot of people self-medicate. You know, I know some people that were like, told me, oh, I have social anxiety, but when I drink, I feel more open and can talk to people, and it's like, oh man, so then they're like drinking every night, and it's like, woo, that's a slippery slope. You know, alcohol makes you feel better in the short run, but alcohol can slowly destroy lives. It's not as severe and as quick as like meth and coke, but whew, I've seen alcohol destroy a lot of stuff. And I've seen people be lifelong alcoholics, and you look at what they could have done or had, it's a bummer. Phil Britton, on the DNC webpage, the face of Obama is still featured. It is the face of Wall Street and corporatized Democrats, hypocrisy, whoring for money and not for the people. Yeah, the DNC doesn't get it. They're not going to change. And what I think is going to happen in 2018, they're going to lose to like either Republicans or they're going to get primaried by progressives, and the DNC won't learn then either. And if the DNC, if corporate Democrats do win and unseat Republicans, then they won't even learn. They won't learn more. I don't know how great that sentence is, but I just don't see the Democrats. I think after next year, after the elections next year, that's when the real third party is going to be happening, because there's still a lot of people having faith in the Democrat. We can change from within and blah blah blah. They're still doing that. They're still trying to hold on hope, and you've got some people being real bold with progressive policy, like Tulsi Gabbard and Nina Turner, and I think people are going to wake up. But the DNC, of course, they think, and everyone's still talking, oh, I miss Obama. I even miss Bush. They're talking about Bush, the war criminal. DNC's a lost cause, man. Catherine P., unless you're on a tablet phone, Superchat isn't available. Really? Not if you're on a laptop? Because I'm on a laptop. I don't understand. William Pena, self-medication leads back to the dismal state of your healthcare system. Single payer. Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, a lot of people have to self-medicate because the healthcare system in this country sucks. I mean, large portions of any of the homeless populations in the major cities in America, most of those, not all, some people are just down on their luck and they have no other options, which sucks. Which also shows you how failed our system is, but so many people have untreated mental illness and they self-medicate with street drugs or booze or whatever. It's brutal. Catherine P., yes, we do need a third party. Jake said he's on a laptop. Jake, some things can have a strong physical addiction component, but anything enjoyable can become addictive. Yeah, I mean, working out, endorphins and stuff are released when you're working out, and working out is a good thing, but if you're like going to the gym 6 hours a day, every day, and you're not a professional athlete, that becomes a little crazy. I mean, endorphins are released when you look on your phone and you like video, whatever. So the phone can become an addiction. Everything can. Anti-neoliberal bot, watching my little brother self-medicate for 23 years, non-stop pain and suffering for him, his family, and our whole family. Yeah, it's tough. And I would recommend this for anyone out, if somebody else's like alcohol or drug use is making your or your family's life or is crazy, I would recommend going to Al-Anon. Was started by Bill W. That's the man who created Alcoholics Anonymous. His wife created Al-Anon, because being around addiction, there's all this crazy behavior that starts happening. And then you start to feel like you're crazy. And Al-Anon is a great place for you to sort of regain your sanity and your identity and realize how powerless you are over somebody else's addiction or mental illness or whatever combination, whatever they're dealing with. Because we, as the loved one, see the person going off the rails, can get so tied up in trying to save them or rescue or help or whatever that then we lose ourselves and then we get dragged down on the crazy train. You don't see Superchat on the iPad? All there is a little dollar symbol right below where you can type something. There's just a little dollar sign. You just click on that. Auntie Neil, I just became a $10 Patreon member. Thank you so much. Boom. Usually the bonus video goes up on Saturday, but it was busy, so that'll go up later tonight, and you get bonus audio on that at the $5 level. And awesome. Thanks for supporting the show, man. Ron, besides the job, learn how not to be an enabler. Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, that's the other thing you learn in Al-Anon is when somebody's addiction is out of control, you don't try to create a crisis, nor do you try to bail them out. You got to just let them. They need to hit rock bottom. If you're lucky, they'll hit rock bottom and will then seek help. Like I had someone very close to me come to me and say, I feel like my life's out of control. I'm drinking every night. And I said, go to AA, man. Go, you got good health insurance. Go get therapy. Go talk to a therapist. And they were like, nah, I don't want to. And then they started like blaming me for stuff. And I was just like, nothing you can do, man. It's the hardest thing to walk away from, but you have to, because enabling them or helping them out, you don't want to go out of your way to screw them over, but you don't want to help them out, because that's the other thing. If they keep getting bailed out, then they never hit rock bottom and they never see what their behavior is doing, because they won't take responsibility. If they're using, that's a kind of pretty consistent for an addict, is then it's everyone else's fault. They won't see what their part in anything is. You guys, it's weird. You don't see it. Yeah, I had to put the phone down this week. I use the anti-neoliberal bot. Dude, tell me about the endorphins for using the phone. So I use this a lot, obviously. This is a big part of my business. I interact with you guys. I post about shows. I got a bunch of road dates coming up in a week or so. I need to but then I can just get caught doing this, and I really don't like it. And it's like, I dated someone that did that a lot, and after a while I was like, come on, like I want to interact, like I want to talk to you face to face. That's why I like this, actually. So I feel more, even though it's through technology, I'm not doing that. HK, I don't see it on my iPad. Boy, I don't know what to tell you. HK, what's the main attraction about cocaine? I mean, is it the pure ego power? I've never done it. I don't know, but it definitely makes you feel, I don't know, really, oh, it's amazing. That's what everyone, oh, it feels so great. But then there's all these other awful things attached to it. Anthony Lobra, put the phone down and stop talking to my brothers and my dad about the situation. Yeah, that's the other thing, too. The whole family can get tied up in somebody's addiction or problem, and then you're in this constant drama, and then your life gets put on hold while they're out doing their craziness. Michael Stiegel Jr., gambling was and is an addiction that I constantly have to work with. Yeah. I would always recommend, go to Gamblers Anonymous and get help. And, for me, I went and got a lot of help with certain things and realized that a lot of it was tied to stuff that happened in the home that I grew up in, and some of it I wasn't even aware of. I just, either didn't remember it or was in sort of denial about it, And, there's a lot of circumstances can cause compulsive behavior. So don't be afraid to go get help. Amy Miltura, sorry I missed 30 minutes. No alerts for your channel, Graham. There is an alert. If you go to my channel right by the subscribe button, there's a bell. You click on the bell, you'll get alerts to when I go live. So that's for everybody. Plus, if you follow me on Twitter, @GrahamElwood, I always post when I'm going to go live. Actually, I posted on my Facebook and my Instagram and my Twitter when I say I'm going to go live today. So, hope that helps, Amy. Sorry you missed the first half hour. No problem, Michael. Phil Britton, the bell did not work for this go-around. Weird. Random Isopo, get all the alerts. I don't know. That's what people tell me, use the bell, and I don't know. Then I would go into your settings, your notification settings on YouTube and see how you're notified, or maybe even on your phone. That's what I would suggest. James98, I discovered that there was a real drug issue in UK during my first year at university. Seemed like everyone was doing coke or ecstasy at all the student clubs. Yeah. So in the comedy community in Los Angeles, I've been learning that there's cocaine is back, which is so like, what? Everyone in my age group of comedians, like 40s, when I got into comedy in the late 80s, early 90s, all these older comedians in their 40s and 50s, like we just saw, there were so many of them on coke, and they were just disasters. They were just train wrecks. So we all saw like how awful cocaine was. Like when cocaine first came on the scene in the 70s, people didn't know it was bad. Everyone's like, oh, it gives you energy. It's great. They didn't realize. So we came in, and I think we were all kids in the 80s when, you know, this is one of the few things I'll give Nancy Reagan credit for, was they did a big, she had to just say no to drugs campaign. So, and I'm in my 20s. I've been told throughout my teen years that cocaine is awful and all of the effects of it. So then I'm seeing these guys do cocaine, these, you know, haggard road comics in these comedy condos, and they're all divorced or cheating on their wives, and they're all just fucking coked out. It was all insane. The club owners were doing, so I was just like, I didn't want anything to do with that. And now I think specific, at least to the comedy scene in Los Angeles, all these young comics are sort of idolizing the 80s. You know, there's that I'm Dying Up Here show on Showtime, and so I'm hearing like a lot of the staffs at the comedy clubs are doing this, and I'm hearing all of this stuff. I don't do that. I'm completely sober, so nobody really talks to me or shows that to me, but I'm learning. It's like becoming very, very prevalent. And I think these younger comics in their 20s and stuff think they haven't seen the like long-term destruction of it. I don't know. Or maybe there's like, they watch the news and everyone's just like, oh, Trump's going to kill us all, YOLO, or whatever. I don't know what it is, but it's pretty gnarly. But thanks for sharing that, James98. HK, thanks for supporting the show. The way you make great comedy is admirable, and you deliver heartfelt messages in a world of flux and change. How would you describe your creative trip each day? Thanks, man. HK, thank you. Let me take a vegan smoothie break while I contemplate your question. That was a little weird. That was creepy. Well, HK, I've been a performer or an artist since I was 18. So, from the business side, you know, your career is like half the time you're like chasing work and just trying to get, you know, go where the work is. But for me, I like being a stand-up comic. Since like the elections, I've felt sometimes like stand-up comedy isn't the venue. I was literally just talking about this with Jimmy Dore and Stephanie Zambrano, because they're both comics, because like when I'm on the panel at the Jimmy Dore show live, those audiences are amazing. And I want to make people laugh, obviously. Getting laughs is great, but I want to have a point. I want to have some social commentary. I want the comedy to be of service. When I started doing shows like for the military in Iraq and Afghanistan and Kuwait, I heard a commanding officer said to a really good friend of mine, Scott Kennedy, who did like 50-some tours in the war zones. He said to him, Scott, whenever the comedy shows come through the base, the suicide rate drops. And I was like, oh my God, my silly little dick jokes, my act is having that much of a profound effect on people. So that's kind of what I want. And that's why I made the movie Afghanistan, and that's why I've seen podcasting has had such a positive outlook and aspect for people. Like in Earbuds, as I've talked about, people said, oh, wow, your podcast got me through this tough time. It got me through mental illness. So I really feel like there's a purpose, and I'm finding more of a purpose now doing this political stuff. And again, you know, I want, one of the reasons I'm doing the show, I want to build up an audience so that only folks like you, like I could sell out a comedy club, and that's the goal. And I see what Jimmy has done, and he's just like, you know, do what I'm doing. So once he started getting up in the hundreds of thousands of subscribers, now that generates a lot of ticket sales, which does obviously is good for his career. But then creatively, to get to your question, he's able to be true to himself. And I think that's what every comedian or artist in general wants to be, is true to yourself. Now, you can get offered money and you have to kind of sometimes, like when I hosted game shows, I had to be a game show host and a TV guy, and that is good financially and good for your career, but that can really stifle creativity. So each day, my creative trip is, I got to make a point. Like there has to be like an aspect of being of service. And the community that's been created from Political Vigilante and the Superchats and what you guys are all doing out on your own is really inspiring to me, and that's what I want to do. I want to, you know, entertain and educate, you know, entertain and inform people. So that's sort of my creative trip. I really come at it from that point of view. And sometimes, you know, whatever, a joke is a joke. It can be a silly joke, it can be a dick joke or whatever, and if it's funny, it has value just because it's funny. But, you know, I remember doing a Jimmy Dore live show, and he was showing how Rachel Maddow was normalizing Roger Ailes. This was like back in May, I think, and on Access Hollywood, and I made this joke, you know, and she was defending Roger Ailes. She was like, yeah, but he did a lot for cable TV, and he was a really good friend, and she wouldn't call him a sexual predator. And I made the joke, I said, yeah, Jimmy, we shouldn't be so hard on her. I mean, let's not forget, you know, Jerry Sandusky was a really good defensive coordinator. Huge laugh at Flappers in Burbank. All progressives, all Jimmy Dore Show fans. It was awesome. 2 nights later, I did that joke at the Comedy Store. And some people laughed, and some people went, ooh, and got offended. And I was like, well, I want that crowd, the Jimmy Dore crowd. Not the, ooh, offended, and the people who see it and are calling out bullshit and are speaking truth to power. So that's my goal. That's what I'm trying to do. And I want politics. Even there's this new show I'm going to be involved with. I can't go into the details yet, but I want it. The comedians I'm going to hire to be in it, I want them to be political. I want them to make a point. I want them to not just make fun of Trump. That's kind of easy. I want them to go after the real people in power. You know, I want them to talk about what happened at Standing Rock and all that stuff. So that's my creative trip. I hope that answer wasn't too lengthy or convoluted, but thank you, HK, for supporting the show. Where are we at here? Amy, looks like you and Auntie Nemo Bot are having a discussion about something about drugs. All right, so a lot creative people like drugs because they allow you to see things differently, but these days I think it's gone too far, and pharma companies are legalized drug dealers. Yeah, there is a lot of artists that, like, I know people that have taken mind-altering drugs and they've seen everything, and then there was that justification from Bill Hicks, like, you know, Jimi Hendrix and all these people. And I've seen people go, oh boy, I really expanded my mind. And But then I also know someone who's done a lot of those, and now they're starting to have brain problems because they put all of these crazy chemicals in your brain. Like, you're toying with a lot of stuff. And I get the, like, you know, I know a lot of good friends of mine that smoke weed and it helps mellow them out. I know a lot of people that use marijuana for medical reasons, and that's great and that's fantastic. I think then I got to be creative. But I've also seen so many people like, I got to experiment with drugs to help my creativity, and then they start getting addicted and it spirals out of control. You guys are having great discussions here. All right. Catherine P. War on drugs is BS. Big Pharma are totally in control. Yeah, for sure. War on drugs is bullshit. That's just money for the CIA. And again, the drug war, like the drug problem should be treated as a medical issue, not a criminal one. Addiction is a disease. The American Medical Association calls alcoholism and drug addiction a disease and should be looked at. People that are addicts, they're like, I'm sick, I need help. Now, obviously, if that addict commits a heinous crime, they should be prosecuted for that crime, but just having drugs, doing drugs, shouldn't put you in prison. You should be getting treatment and help. We should be more of a compassionate society. The way we treat mental illness and drug addiction and homeless people and the poor is fucking appalling. It's appalling. So I'd really like to see it addressed that way. Anti-neoliberal bot. Expert meditation can achieve the same results, but most don't have a lifetime to dedicate to the practice to get there. That's a great point. Really, I remember one time studying with this guy that taught this, like, he called it Kung Yoga. It was like Kung Fu and yoga together, and he was like doing this thing, and it's like, oh, you'll feel your chi, and you hold the thing, and you feel your chi, and I was okay, and then one time I did it, and I all of a sudden felt this power between my hands, and it was scary, and I haven't been able to get it back. And I think you're right. In this day and age, to meditate and calm your mind, I would love to get to that place. I would love to go to like some type of martial art or kung fu monastery and just meditate and get to that place. And I think you can achieve these higher levels of consciousness on your own without drugs. But like you say, you got to do a lot of work. And in our society, this quick fix, boom, boom, blah, 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 everything's got to, I want it now, I want it now, I want it now. I can just take this drug or this pill or smoke this thing and boom. So that's a great point, man. This is a great discussion today. HK, that sounds funny. Kung Fu and yoga. Yeah, it is. Rhombus isotope. Learning to hold the ball is step one of Tai Chi. Yep. Catherine P. But we don't think twice about dedicating our time to negative, hurtful things. Something to think about. Let's get back to the meditation thing real quick. So I go on my roof every morning. This is just what I do. And you guys tell me what you do and other little things that help. So I turn my phone off every night before I go to sleep. And when I wake up in the morning, I don't roll over and turn it on and start going on the phone. I wake up and I plug my phone in. And then I go on my roof and I read this Deepak Chopra book and I read this other book. And I go on my roof deck and I'm out in nature and I meditate. And sometimes meditating is hard. Sometimes my brain's like, I got to do this today, or I'm mad at this person, or blah, 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 blah. But if I really get calm and listen and just breathe and hear everything around me and sometimes even say like a mantra, a positive mantra, that's how I start my day. And I do that for about a half hour, and I study the samurai sword, so sometimes I'll work on that. And that's like a Zen thing. I know it sounds a little crazy swinging a samurai sword around, but it's very... I studied from this man, Master Shimabukuro, who was a fantastic, fantastic guy. He died 5 years ago. But So I think if more people meditated, and again, we live in a modern society is nuts, and you got to run around in the internet and the phone and traffic and blah, blah, blah. So I would recommend, if you haven't already, especially anyone out there that's struggling with whatever, you don't even have to have a specific thing, but just get calm and read some books about meditation. There's YouTube videos. You don't have to just join an ashram. Like, there's a way to meditate and find calm in your everyday average life without, getting off the grid. So get calm, quiet, and just breathe. And when you have thoughts come into your mind, let them, don't like judge yourself because, I'm thinking too much. And just breathe and listen to everything around you. Something I'd recommend. Amy Milturo, you're not allowed on your roof. Okay. Ramazai's job, I take naps. That's funny. And Proka, thanks for joining us. Ian Proka, did you look into Streamlabs? That's what it was, dude. Streamlabs. I forgot. I'm going to literally put that in my phone. I forgot to look into that today, Ian, and that's my fault. But let me email myself Streamlabs, and I'll get that set up for the next one. I'm sorry. I'm literally going to do this right now. Streamlabs. Streamlabs. I will look into that for next time. I didn't get it set up this time, Ian. That's my fault. And I should let you guys know, because I'm going to wrap up here in about 10-15 minutes. But next week, I will not be doing a super chat because it is the Los Angeles Podcast Festival, lapodfest.com, October 6th through the 8th. I'm doing this Political Vigilante live for the very first time. If you're in LA, come and get it. But I'll be too busy with the festival to do a super chat next Sunday, which would be October 8th. So no super chat next week. I'll announce it on Facebook and whatnot, but just so you guys know. And I will look into Streamlabs. Amy Miltura meditations are really great. Yeah, and you can meditate even just for a couple of minutes. Naps are underrated. That's funny. Anti-neoliberal bot. I make beats to relax and meditate. That's cool. Thank you, Ian. Michael Stiegler Jr. hashtag Save Podfest. It could happen. It might be the last one, but I don't know. We might get a big. There's some sponsors floating around. Some people we're talking to. I'd love to keep Podfest going. I really love doing it. It's a lot of work, and I can't keep doing it for free. But we're getting close. I think we could save it. I'm anything's possible. I'm confident. Independent outsider. Good luck at the podcast festival, bro. Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. Yeah, Bella's having internet problems. That's too bad. I miss God's favorite atheist. She was really wanting to do this, so she likes this every week, and she's really cool. So check out her show. I'm sorry she's having internet trouble. Celeste Holmes. So first time I get to participate in several weeks. I catch you towards the end of the show, and no show next week. Well, damn. Well, Celeste. As I was saying earlier, follow me on Twitter at Graham Elwood. Also, next to the subscribe button is a bell button. If you click that, you should get notifications. Now, somebody today said they didn't get one. You might want to go into your settings if that's the case. But if you hit the bell button, you should get notifications when I do go live. Sorry, Celeste. Of course, if you go to the $25 level at Patreon, I will interview you once a month, and we can talk one-on-one. There you go. Plantastic Life! Thanks for coming back to the show, dude. Thanks for donating. $5. Why don't environmentalists stress the importance of dietary choices, i.e. animal products? Yeah, that's a good point. I think vegetarians and vegans get such a bad rap for like, oh, vegetarians, you never shut up about it. Oh, I'm a vegan. You had to tell me, didn't you? Which I've heard, and there's so much shit on the internet about that, which I gotta tell you, me personally, I've never done that. It's always, I'm forced to bring it up. I'll go out to eat, or I'll come over to someone's house and they'll be like, here's some steak and chicken. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't eat that. You know, it's okay. And then they freak out. Oh, well, what do you eat? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And it's like, no, okay, I have no problem just eating salad and, and pasta. It's fine. And they're like, oh boy, you vegetarians, you never stop bringing it up. No, you forced me to bring it up. You forced me to bring it up. So I think there's a hesitation, like if you're a vegan or vegetarian, to bring it up because people are like, oh, here we go, Mr. Vegan. And then people act dumb. They act so weird. They'll eat something in front of you and they feel insecure about it. So they're like, oh, I'm eating a hamburger, Mr. Vegan. And it's just like, fuck, what are you, 6? But it is a valid point, Plantastic Life. There's also, they did a study, the single best thing you could do for the environment is to not have kids. But you're going to tell people not have kids? I don't have kids, but I have 6 nieces and nephews. They're awesome. I'd be bummed if they weren't around. My friends' kids, I'd be bummed if they weren't around. But that's the reality. So how do we get the message without being too preachy or just judging people or offending them or whatever? Because if you do that, then people just fucking tune you out. But I think it's valid, and I think in terms of if you, as I've said before in the show, Plantastic Life, it's stick to the facts. So if you are going to use that in your argument, stick to the facts. This is how much we spend on grains and water for cattle and dairy cows. And showing like how much money is spent, how many resources are spent, how many humans could be fed. We could, do that. Should tell people the benefits. Like if you watch the documentary Forks Over Knives, really good documentary, and it just shows you how eating raw food is really beneficial. One of the things they said is 50% of just make 50% of every meal be raw. So even if you have a cheeseburger and fries, get a salad on the side or whatever. And it's so I think, I don't know. Me personally, I just don't want to be preachy and be like, oh God, I can't eat anything around Graham because he's going to look at me bad. I don't want to be that guy. Plantastic Life. So I want, when the discussion happens, sort of somebody else brings it up and it's organic, then I think it's valid to sort of show those things. And also in terms of dairy, I always say to people, wouldn't it be weird if you saw a chimpanzee nursing on a cow? Wouldn't that be the weirdest, grossest thing you've ever seen? But that's what it's like when we as adult humans drink a cow's milk. I use almond milk and for my cereal and to make my smoothies with and all that stuff. I haven't drank regular milk in I don't know how long, decades. Regular cheese is pretty good. It's better than vegan cheese. I'll just say that. So every once in a while, that's my cheat. But again, I would stick to the facts and then just sort of try to live your life your way and live by example versus, because you don't want to be the preachy asshole that everyone hates to be around. So, thank you, Plantastic Life, and thank you for living a Plantastic life, and thank you for supporting the show. Phil Britton, it takes 100 pounds of grains to make 1 pound of cow. Yep. Those type of statistics, the facts are the facts, and you can't argue with it. And people go, oh, what do you do with cattle ranchers? You throw them out of business. They won't have jobs. And it's like, well, yeah, they could actually they could turn their cattle farms into an organic farm. Like you could give them that information. Anyway, Independent Outsider, save the cow, kill the broccoli. Yeah, good point. Catherine Pete, meat is murder. HK, broccoli rocks. Well, this is a fine discussion to have, a broccoli debate. Thank you for being pro-broccoli. Where are we at here? What happened? Winkle the Bernie bro. Well, Winkle, I hope you do. It's good to have you here, Winkle, and I hope you figure out whatever you're struggling with. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Thanks for joining us, man. Amy Matura, I taught at a French school for a year and found that a cheese they gave me in the cafeteria there wasn't permitted in the U.S., yet the Parm cheese containers here are wood chips. Yeah, that's interesting. Wow. I wonder what that's about. That's probably, I very much doubt that it's, it's probably some sort of corporate reason why they did that. Winkle the Bernie bro, thanks for enjoying everything great. Thanks for supporting the show, dude. Yeah, man. If YouTube is stressing you out and being on the internet is triggering you, take a break. Don't feel bad about it. You got to take a break. You got to go where you feel safe and supported, and don't be afraid to ask for help, dude. Seriously. Reach out. I know you live in LA. It's a 12-step capital of the world, man. So there's help for you there. Just go get it and lean into that. And know that you're not awful or crazy. You're just dealing with something and you're getting help. So we'll be here when you come back, man. I hope everything gets good for you. Plantastic Life. I agree, vegans should not be assholes. I think most of them aren't. I think people are insecure about eating unhealthy, so then it's when people feel insecure about stuff, it's easy to go, oh, stop judging me. It's like, I didn't say anything. Oh, you're judging everything I do. No, you feel insecure and you haven't dealt with it. Oh, fuck you, vegan dick. I think a lot of that happens, Plantastic Life, but thanks for supporting the show again, man. You're awesome. Amy Matura, it's an assault on the body that corporations are playing. Oh, man, you want to get into the food thing. I mean, look about what Monsanto's done. I just, like, corporate farming and overproducing and the pesticides and everything like that is pretty gnarly. There's a bunch of, I'd watch the documentary Fed Up. I'd watch that's about the sugar industry. I'd watch the documentary Forks Over Knives. And then there's the other one about Monsanto, and I forget what that one is. But those documentaries were very informative for me and really helped me sort of gradually. That's the other thing, too. I want to say this. I got to a very healthy place gradually, like over years. And I said that to a friend of mine. I was like, wow, Graham, you're so healthy. And I said, dude, just do one little thing at a time. Like, don't just wake up one day and just all of a sudden I'm going to just be some raw food vegan. If you can do that, great. But just cut out a little thing. Cut out one little thing. Just change one little thing, Switch from coffee to green tea or stop using milk and cream and just switch to almond milk. Like, just one little thing. And just go from there. And I think when you do one little thing here, because I used to eat meat. I used to drink beer. I used to, drink a lot of Coca-Cola. I loved Coke. God, I still love it. That drink is fantastic. It's awful for you. They're a bad company. It's fantastic tasting. Like every once in a blue moon, I'll have like a Coke Zero if I really need to stay awake or something. But do it gradually and see little results here and give yourself credit for taking a step forward. 2 steps forward and 1 step back is still 1 step forward. Don't judge yourself for the step back. Take the step back as a learning experience. That's what I think. But thank you, Plantastic Life, for letting me know that vegans should not be assholes. Ian Paracoa 2.0. I went to Normandy and the person gave me cheese that isn't allowed in the U.S. I smuggled it in anyway. Good for you, brother. Cheese smuggler. You're a cheese mule? Okay. James 98. What do you think about the new 5 and 10 pound notes that contain animal fat? What? Why would you need to put animal fat in $1? It just feels like the cattle industry is like made some deal with the currency industry, and that sounds insane to me. You don't have to put animal products in all this stuff. That sounds insane. Ian Perico 2.0. I think it was something about how they procure the cheese. Yeah, maybe. Michael Stiegel Jr. Is John Delaney a good candidate for president? I don't know much about the guy. I'll be honest with you, Mike. I don't know. I'd like to know more about him. There's a lot of politicians popping up that I haven't heard that much about, or maybe they've just been around and I just didn't know. But I'd love to know more about the guy, but I can't. I don't know. Right? I can't make a comment on it now because I just don't know. Zox, good to have you here. I think the British are smart because when the starvation starts, the rich will be able to eat their money. So there's that. Yeah, so the rich can just boil down their dollars into animal fat soup. Good point. That's fantastic. Oh, God. Celeste Holmes, Koch Industries has its for-profit tentacles in big agriculture and big factory farming. Of course. Boy, that's a great point. You get into big factory farming and big agricultural, oh my God. And what they do, they've tried to weaken the organic labeling laws to say something that isn't necessarily organic is. And it's gnarly what they've tried to do. That's such a great point. God, the Koch brothers. There's no corner of the world that they haven't tried to ruin with their evil greed. How much do you need? When you're making billions, like how much, when is enough enough? Like what do you need? Like a bigger private jet or a fleet of them or more houses? Like when is enough enough? I got a 1-bedroom here, man. I'm fine. I'm good. I could use a new car because mine's old and I need more comfortable seats. Could use a new pair of gym shoes. I don't know. What am I talking about here? 30, 40 grand worth of stuff at the most? Like that's the most? Oh boy, they're such dicks. Those guys are assholes. I'd take a vegan asshole over a Koch brother any day of the week. Karen Sheets. Yes, the Koch brothers are evil. Redneckonomics is here. How have you been? How's it going, Redneckonomics? How's your show going? I love that you're doing it. I love that you're talking about issues in your part of the world, man. That's really cool. Phil Britton, America eats its young. Yep. Amy Mold, they still need a personal chef. Yeah, I know. It's like the Koch brothers, like, who's going to pay for it? We got to take a helicopter to the Hamptons. What are we supposed to drive in a car like an animal? What do we got here? You guys are talking about eating the rich. That's cool. All right, a couple more, then I'm going to wrap it up here. Celeste Holmes, I spent 15 years in the food processing business. All the bullshit the public is told about labeling is just that bullshit. Labeling is as easy as making a Word doc. Yeah, man, I don't disagree with you at all, Celeste. And thank you for telling us that. You know, that's the other thing. We need more people within these industries to come forward. I know you can put yourself at risk, but how you can leak documents or whatever. Yeah, you read the labels and you're just like, I guess I gotta trust you at some point. I guess I'm gonna put this. I don't know. You know. So it's why if I had a backyard, I would absolutely grow my own stuff. Independent Outsider, Stevie's interview of Elliot Pritt. Check it out. Okay. Cool. Whose channel is that? Stevie's channel? Where's that interview? Thanks, Independent Outsider, for supporting the show. HK, I think we need dick jokes. Yeah, we could always use some dick jokes. Karen Karen Sheets, I'd rather go to local markets to buy produce. That's a great point. So I talk about on this show voting with your dollars. A great way to vote with your dollars is go to farmers markets and stuff like that instead of big corporate, big agricultural stuff like that. That's a great point. And thank you, Independent Outsider, for supporting the show and telling us about Stevie's interview of Elliot Pritt. And Redneckonomics, thanks for jumping in. Thanks for the $5. I appreciate it. Actually, there's no show next week, Redneckonomics, just so you know. That's the weekend of the podcast festival, October 6th through the 8th. So I will not be doing a Super Chat because I'll be doing the Comedy Film Nerds podcast and all that stuff. But the week after that, I'll be doing it. You guys are fantastic for supporting the show. Dick jokes are hard to think of right now. You guys are just going to do all these dick jokes. Phil Britton, laughter is medicine. Thanks for the double dosing today. Absolutely. There's an organization called Laughter Heals, and people have healed diseases from laughing, healed ailments from laughing. So if you feel down, listen to something funny. It might sound simple, but sometimes it's the simplest solution. Go hang out with somebody that's funny. Go to my Pandora channel and listen to my albums. But you guys are great, and I appreciate the discussion this week about mental illness and addiction. And if anyone out there is struggling with either one or both of those, get help. There's no shame in asking for help. It is actually the most courageous thing you could ever do. I say that from personal experience. I don't drink or do drugs. I've suffered some real serious stuff in my life, some traumas, and some of those memories have come forward. My brain locked them off for decades. It's not an easy thing to deal with, and that's why, and I have an amazing support group. So you guys are part of that, so support each other and ask for help. Thank you so much, everybody. You guys, if Amy, it's hard to find funny stuff. It's out there. If you go to Pandora, like I have my own Pandora channel, find funny YouTube videos, go on Netflix and type in comedy, do all that stuff. You know, hang out with people that make you giggle, support yourself with love and support in every corner of your life, physically, emotionally, mentally, everything. Fantastic life. Thanks for the donation. Keep healing America with laughter. I'm going to do that, you guys. And check out Laughter Heals. Check out Laughter Heals because that's an organization that I might be doing more work with down the road. Roseman Martana, I listen to Jimmy Dore when I'm down. Good, yeah, man. Jimmy and I love making people laugh. That's what we do. My butts from Slacker make me laugh. Rhombus Iso, put a miniature Jack Russell in a hamster ball. Celeste Holmes, I hear you, Graham. Sorry I missed the mental health part of the conversation. I have some strong opinions on mental health counseling and how it doesn't serve the patient's needs as well as it could. Okay. Well, you know, this show gets put up and you can watch the front half of it later. And thanks, Broccoli Heals. All right, you guys, you're fantastic. Thank you for supporting the show. All the people that did the Super Chat. Jake, thank you. HK, you're fantastic. Plantastic Life. Winkle the Bernie Bro. Plantastic Life again. You vegan asshole. Independent Outsider. Stevie's interview of Elliot Pritt. We will check that out. Redneckonomics. Right on. Watch her show. Plantastic Life again. You guys are awesome. I will see you in 2 weeks. And have a great rest of your Sunday. And if you're in LA, please come to the LA Podcast Festival. You can see Political Vigilante live. And I'm on a lot of the live shows with the Jimmy Dore Show live. We were just in San Diego. I'm putting a PayPal button on my GrahamElwood.com. So if you just want to donate, you don't want to do Patreon or Super Chat or whatever, that's a great way to kick in some money to support the show. The show's growing because of you guys. You guys are fantastic. Ask for help. That's the bravest thing you could ever do. It's the bravest thing you could ever do is ask for help. So know that. You're not weak or crazy or scared. You're being brave. and you're showing up for yourself. Learn how to show up for yourself. I learned how to do that. It saved my life. You guys are awesome. Thanks for watching the show, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.